living life is gay. Hey, hey, 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 love yourself first, explicitly. You owe it to yourself to move with that energy. Empower your self-esteem. Self-love is king. That's the only way to win. That's how you empower your dream. Living life is gay. Hey, hey, living life is gay. Hey, hey, living life is gay. Hey, hey, living life is gay. Hey, hey.
Hey, happy Monday. Happy Mindset Monday. Oh my goodness. It's like the weekends just go so fast. And then all of a sudden it's Monday. But then Monday for me is usually so jam-packed that I actually spent a good portion of today feeling like it was Friday. And I had to stop. I'm like, what is today? Hey, Lacey J, how are you, boo? Happy Monday. But yeah, I was like, I really was feeling like it was Friday for a part of the day. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. But anyway, I'm your girl, Stae Hall. I am a life coach, L.Y.F.E, love yourself first explicitly, because I believe that the true foundation of any type of success in life, whether it's personal success, business success, all begins with loving yourself. I'm also a published author of 3 books with number 4 on its way. I'm a mom, a May, a certified emotional intelligence as well as soft skills coach, and I am a wife to Dr. Wallace Lee Hall. And I guess I'm a vlogger, a YouTuber, podcaster, all the things, right? I keep my days full. And so this is Living Life with Stae, Mindset Mondays, where we just kind of dive into all things mindset, positivity, the good juju, the good vibes, the good energy. And this is definitely a safe space where I want us all to feel encouraged and supported. And I just want to share with you all some of the things that I've been through, some of the things that I've learned to help you be able to navigate your journey maybe just a little bit easier. Like, I'm definitely not the type of person who feels like everybody has to learn on their own by bumping their own head and making mistakes. I truly believe that you can learn from other people's experiences to kind of make your journey just a little bit easier. And thank you so much for that, heart. Just a little bit easier. This definitely is an open platform. So I do have, hey, Jamie, I do have the link pinned if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, that is fine. But just to let you know that the broadcast is Jamie Ray and Stae May. I love it. Yes. Now that is another one of my friends from way, way back. I honestly do not remember a time in my life when I did not know Jamie Ray. That is my girl. Our moms were actually friends growing up. So, you know, that's more like family. But I do have the link because I don't believe that I'm the end all and be all to any of this. Hey, Nikki, I just want to make sure that you all feel comfortable jumping on, sharing your thoughts. Don't ever think that you can't join the panel, join me up on the screen. I just consider myself a facilitator of the conversation. Hey, Miss Gwen. But I don't even know if that's where I was, but I was actually saying Facebook and YouTube don't always play well together. So if you want to join the conversation, jump over to YouTube, go to my channel, subscribe, and you can click the link and join me up here. But today I am talking about a topic that is near and dear to my heart, something that I experienced for a good part of my life, and something that I feel is just important to discuss, especially for women, but men deal with it as well. But of course, I'm a woman. That's what I can most relate to in my journey. And that is overcoming insecurities. And some people will try to say that they don't have insecurities, that they're very confident, but we all are insecure about something. Absolutely, Miss Gwen, you are so right. we all are insecure about something. And people who say, I don't have any insecurities, I don't care what anybody thinks, I'm always comfortable. To me, that type of speaking is showing insecurity in and of itself, because one of the things that I say a lot is like, who are you trying to convince of that, me or you, right? Because when you're overly, confident with, oh, well, I'm not worried about this, and I've never worried about that, and I've never had an issue with that, I'm like, then you're not human, because we all have things that we have been insecure about. And so I just want to talk about how we can overcome those things, because being, right, exactly, Nikki, because being insecure is a part of being human. It's just that you don't ever want to let your insecurities, you don't ever want to let your fears and things like that debilitate you. You don't want them to have you frozen. You don't want them to, keep you from enjoying life and doing the things that you love. You just want to learn how to navigate through them. You want to learn how to still be able to live your life, have a prosperous life, have a functional life, and still be able to deal with your insecurities in a healthy way. Hey, Kelly, how are you? Thank you so much for tuning in. My insecurities has been showing its ugly head in my mind. Well, I'm glad you're here, Lacey J. I'm so glad you're here, because hopefully something I say can be impactful. And that's the thing too, right? When we're dealing with our insecurities, it's a part of mental health. And y'all know this is Mental Health Awareness Month. And it's about the things, and I'm glad that you said rearing its ugly head in your mind, because it's about the thoughts, because a lot of things that we're insecure about, no one has ever said it to us directly. It's nothing, there are things, the thoughts that we have. And unfortunately, the insecurity sometimes can come from comparing ourselves to other people, comparing our journeys to other people. We have social media. We just have all kinds of different influences and things that we see. And so our minds can get so cluttered and so clouded with all of this. And we're constantly thinking about how we match up. Hey, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, LP. Thank you for being here. Yes, Mental Health Awareness Month. And so it's just important. And I love that, mental health is something that we are talking about more, and it's not so taboo. And now we have a month dedicated to mental health awareness, and people are realizing that they're not alone and feeling a little bit more open to be vulnerable and share, because for years and years and decades and eons, no one wanted to share that they struggled in any type of way. But when it comes to the insecurities, again, it's those thoughts in our mind. It's that stinking thinking. It's that negative self-talk. It's that comparison syndrome. It's that imposter syndrome. And the things that we know we really shouldn't do. It's just difficult. It's difficult to control your thoughts. It's difficult to make that shift and that pivot in your mind. And so that's what we want to talk about today, is just how we are going to make that shift and things we can do. And I'm just hoping to leave you with some tools and skills and insight to help you navigate that journey just a little bit easier. Hey, Blvd, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate that. So I have my notes, and y'all know when I have notes, y'all know I'm good off the dome. Usually I'm just talking to y'all with whatever comes up in my head. But when I got notes, that means it might be a good idea for you to take some notes, because I'm going to be dropping some nuggets on y'all. And this is the stuff that people usually pay the big bucks for in the one-on-ones and the private sessions. But I'm giving it to y'all for the free 99. So you might want to take some notes. LP says, makes it hard to take yourself seriously and branch out. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So the first thing we want to talk about is understanding the root cause of insecurities, which I touched on a little bit, but some of the common sources of those insecurities, of course, are going to be the societal pressures, right? And so the societal pressures are the things I talked about when we have social media. We have everybody and their mama is getting a BBL, because the societal pressures usually are going to be things that we focus on as far as our exterior, right? I don't know if I know a person who hasn't struggled with some kind of body image, whatever. It's like either They feel like they're too thin. They feel like they're too thick. They feel like their booty's too big. They feel like their booty is flat. They feel like their nose is too big. They feel like their lips aren't full enough, whatever it is, because there's this cookie cutter thing that's put out there on social media. Like right now, the BBLs is a big thing. The lip fillers is a big thing. The Botox is a big thing, where young women are starting to get Botox now as early as in their mid 20s, and maybe even some earlier. I was watching one of those reality shows, and the young lady on there was like 26 and had been getting fillers for like the past couple of years. And so what they say now is get the fillers young so that, you're ahead of the game and you can just keep up with. And I'm like, really? That's what we're saying now, start young. And they're still not pushing up the age for mammograms. They're still not pushing up the age for colonoscopies. Hey, Michelle, thank you for being here, love. They're not pushing up the age for a lot of different medical types of procedures that you need, but they're saying start getting the Botox early, right? Right. Yeah. No, I don't need no cement in my face. My thing is, I can admit that some of my vanity is not allowing me to age as gracefully as I would like to say. I am fighting it, but when it comes to doing things that are super invasive surgeries and all of that, no, but I will put on every lotion, potion, serum, whatever, mask. I'll do all that. And which I think, that's pretty healthy anyway. You want to keep your skin hydrated and supple and your collagen and things like that. But when it comes to shooting a foreign substance in my face, I'm not doing that. And I'm already having to take high blood pressure medicine and, do other things. Like I don't need any other foreign substances going into my body. But yeah, that's what they're telling them. Do it earlier. And so people are believing that. But also, what is it all about? It's about the money. You started earlier. You need to keep that up because people get addicted to that. They don't see their face changing. They don't see the natural aging. So they're going to expect to look 25 for the rest of their lives. And so they're going to keep going back because that stuff is not permanent, right? And so you have to be able to think that rationally. But even those of us who are like, no, I'm not doing it, we still see it. And so we compare ourselves to that, and it can start playing games with your mind. And so the societal pressures make you feel like every woman has to be a certain size, have a certain look, but it was never intended that way. If God wanted it to be that way, then he very well could have made us to all look the same. Hey, Tamika, thank you so much for joining. But we look different, and we were supposed to look different. We have different personalities. We have different features. We're different heights, different shapes, different sizes. But society would have to believe that there is one way. The thing that really bothers me is that looks of them being still go in and out just like clothing does. Because the time when skinny, that then there she was that. So you can't try to keep it with continuing to just wish that these younger women realize that all of this that you're doing, these BBLs, having ribs removed, starving yourself, whatever you're doing to try to fit that societal mode, it's not going to be what they want in the next 2 years or even 6 months. But again, it makes people insecure because they feel like they have to look like what they see on the reality shows. They have to look like what they see on the social media platforms and all of that, which creates insecurities. You have girls who are in great shape who might just have a little extra meat on their bones or their booty's not quite as plump. They're feeling insecure for no reason. And the thing is, most of what you see with all this airbrushing and photoshopping and filters and everything is not true anyway. Those people don't look like that. That whole I woke up like this. No. So but it plays games. And so those societal pressures and the perceptions that we see of other people ruin our own self-perception because Why don't we look like that? And that is something that I struggled with. And I shared with y'all before that I grew up feeling like the ugly duckling in my family. I did not look like a lot of the girls in my family. They were light skinned, light eyes, wavy hair. They were all, much shorter than me. My height has been an issue for me for a long time. I've been this height since I was about in 6th, 7th grade. I'm 5'8.5", 5'9", and all of my friends, my female family members were all shorter than me. And people would tease me, hey, Deborah, people would tease me about my height. And so if you see pictures of me when I was younger, a lot of times with my friends, I would always either sit down in front of them or I was crouched down because I felt insecure. And of course, boys don't grow quite as fast as girls. So when I was young, a lot of the boys weren't really interested in me because I was a lot taller than them. And so it just gave me insecurities. And then you add on top of it, people who recognize your insecurities as kids and they talk about it. My lips were a lot fuller than the other girls in my family and the girls I grew up with. So I got talked about my big lips, my soup coolers. I got talked about my forehead and being so tall and my big feet. And so it gave me insecurities. But those are things that, had it never been brought to my attention, I would have never thought about it. You know what I mean? And so those are the things that you have to realize is, am I insecure based on what I really feel? Or am I insecure based on the things that other people are saying? And how many of us know that those people who tease and bully and do those things, that means they have insecurities as well. And Lord, I wish I would have known that when I was a kid, because here I am thinking they're so tough and they're so confident and they're confident enough to talk about me. The bullies get all the clout and it's like, oh yeah, because they feel comfortable. But really, they're just kind of trying to get you before you get them, right? They're just trying to take whatever insecurities they have and hide behind them to bring out whatever insecurity they think that they can bring out in you. And so those are the things that happen. And we start to then second guess ourselves because most of the time we wouldn't even think about that type of thing unless somebody else said it to us, okay? And so the societal pressures, our perception of others, then distorts our perception of ourselves. And so what you have to do is be very self-aware. And you always have to have your armor together. You always have to be able to be your biggest advocate, your best cheerleader. You have to be able to talk those rational thoughts to yourself every single day to let yourself know that you are beautiful inside and out. You are unique. You don't need to look like anyone else. If you were supposed to look like somebody else, you would have an identical twin. And if you don't have an identical twin, then you are uniquely you. There's no one else that you're supposed to look like. There's no one else that you're supposed to act like. There's no one else's journey that you are supposed to have. And the fact that you are uniquely you is a gift in and of itself. And those are the kind of things that we have to tell ourselves. And something else that I think about is when we compare ourselves to other people, oftentimes, whether it's financially, whether it's the way they look, whatever it is, and we start feeling insecure, what we also have to remember is we don't know the price that they paid for that. We don't know what really their life was like. Like I hear people, oftentimes say, I wish I was Oprah and the life Oprah has, but did you want to pay that price that Oprah paid to be who she is? Because Oprah went through a lot. And there are certain things that I've said to people who have even said things to me like, oh, it must be nice to do this, this, and that. And it must be nice. Well, you know what? If you want a piece of me in my life, and if you're looking at it, then you have to take all of it. And did you want to go through this, and this? Because I went through a lot to be the Stae that I am today. And so that's something you have to think about when you're having that comparison, when you're having those insecure moments. A lot of people that seem like they have it all together, we don't know what it took to get them there. Yeah, absolutely. All that glitters ain't gold. And I paid my price enough. I paid my dues enough. I don't want to swap places with anybody else. I am on my own journey, doing my own thing, living the life that was made for me. And whoever else has whatever else they have going on, That's their thing. But I'm not going to hope and pray for anybody else's. Like, yeah, I'm going to stay in my own lane, stay in my own life, doing my own thing. And so the other thing that we have to learn when we have these insecurities is that it's okay to feel that way. Don't beat yourself up about how you feel. Feel your feelings, have your emotions, have your moments, but then you have to work your way out of it. Right. It's way too much pressure, way too much pressure. Yeah, I'm good. I have a hard enough time handling Stae's life. So I'm good. I'm going to stay right where I am, and whatever is for me is for me. Absolutely. And the thing is too, that just came to my mind. You also don't know what's going on with people internally when it comes to illnesses and things like that. It's just like, you just never know. You never know. I just remember the cholesterol commercial from a few years ago when they had the woman who looked like she was in great shape and she was out running and whatever. And by the end of the commercial, she had a massive heart attack, and it was about high cholesterol and being the secret killer or silent killer and things like that. It's like, yeah, don't, be careful what you wish for and be grateful for what you have. But you have to learn how to work through it. Have your feelings, because again, we all have those, but the key is not to let them be debilitating and not to rest in that. But give yourself compassion when you are having those moments of insecurity. Understand and give yourself grace, because you are human and we all deal with it. But your mindset should be, why am I feeling like this? Is this rational? And what can I do to work through it? And having those moments of compassion is what's going to help you work through it, because oftentimes we feel insecure, we feel inadequate, we feel like we're not matching up, and then we beat ourselves up for it. And beating yourself up, I'm going to be the first one to tell you, is never going to work. I am all about holding yourself accountable. Y'all know, put in the chat if y'all know what this means when I said holding yourself accountable, and I put up the number 3, because some of y'all be with me all the time. When I put up the number 3 and I say accountable, what am I going to say that we go by? We go by the triple what? Anybody know? Anybody know the letter? Anybody? This is show me how much y'all pay attention. I feel like a teacher now. I don't see nothing going in the chat. Y'all don't know what the 3 is for, the triple what? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe y'all don't know. We have to think about the triple A's. We become aware of something, and then we have to hold ourselves accountable, and then we take action. I need y'all, give me a triple A in the chat if y'all are going to remember from next time. I need AAA in the chat that y'all are remembering, because I'm telling y'all to take notes. Those triple A's, I think about it every single day, and I want y'all to do the same thing, because every day we encounter something that we can apply those triple A's to. Be aware, hold yourself accountable, and then take action. I'm giving y'all that. Thank you, LP. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Lacey J. I'm telling you, I really need y'all to have that as a part of your arsenal anytime you come into any type of conflict, whether it's with another person, whether it's internally, whatever it is. I'm telling you, those triple A's will save you. Be aware, hold yourself accountable, and take action. But the A that I wanted to focus on in this one is the second A. Accountability does not mean beating yourself up. I never want you to think that, because beating yourself up never works. Because when you, thank you, Deborah, when you beat yourself up, then you are further feeding that notion that you are inadequate. You are further feeding those negative thoughts that you have failed, that you're not getting it right, that you're not good enough. Holding yourself accountable only means that, thank you, Michelle, only means that you are committing to addressing an issue and doing better. That's it. It's not about beating yourself up. How could I do that? I can't believe I did that. I'm so stupid. I'm so worthless. I'm never going to get where I'm going. I'm never going to be, or where I'm trying to go. I'm never going to be able to achieve that. Holding yourself accountable just means that, okay, I've become aware, and y'all know I use weight all the time because that's one of my biggest things that I deal with. And so that's why I use that. And it's easy. And I think that a lot of people can relate. And so for me, it's like, okay, I'm aware that in order for me to get off of the medications that I need to get off, that I want to get off of, that I'm going to have to lose a certain amount of weight. And so the way that I hold myself accountable is just having that conversation with myself on a regular basis. Hey, living out loud, having that conversation with myself on a regular basis. And it's definitely not a sign of weakness at all. It's strength in saying that I am the only one. I'm making a decision right now that I am the only one who can make sure that I lose this weight. And if I want to lose this weight, there are things that I'm going to have to do. So I can't try to lose this weight and then get upset if Wallace brings a pizza in the house. I can't lose this weight and then be feeling some kind of way if my girlfriends invite me out to brunch and I can't have mimosas. I am going to hold myself accountable. And then it's taking the action, because holding myself accountable just means that I am making the plan to do something better. I've become aware of what the issue is. And now the accountability piece is I am making a plan to do what's better, and I'm going to stick to that. And then the action piece is to sticking to that. The action piece is now that I've held myself accountable and said, girl, you cannot keep doing the same things and expecting the same result. You cannot blame other people for why you're not reaching your goals. You are holding yourself accountable. You are responsible for your own journey. You are responsible for reaching your own goals. Now, do the third A, take action and do it. Get up and get out there and walk your 3 miles every day. Stop eating the carbs. And you want to make sure that you're getting your movement. You want to, whatever it is that you're doing, those are then the actions. So you want to be aware, and then you want to hold yourself accountable, and you want to take action. And so with the insecurities, as soon as you find yourself feeling insecure about something, as soon as you're, going to that event and you're feeling like, you know what, I don't even know why I'm going to this event. All of the people there have degrees. They're much more intelligent than me. They know a lot more about this than me. The accountability piece is going to be this. Okay, those are negative thoughts. I mean, the awareness, those are negative thoughts. Those are the lies that you're telling yourself. So now to hold yourself accountable is you're going to walk in here with your head held high. You're going to be confident in who you are, and you are going to fight those negative thoughts. Then the action is, once you get there, you do exactly what it is that you held yourself accountable to do. Does that make sense? And so that's how we combat it. We have the compassion for ourselves. Like, I get it. This is a stressful situation. You're walking into new territory. Maybe you're not exactly where you want to be. Maybe you don't match up to them on paper. But the thing is, you're still valuable. You are still a worthy person. You wouldn't be walking into that room if you didn't belong there. And the only person who is thinking those things about you is you. And if anybody else is thinking that about you, guess what? Those aren't the people that we care about. And that's something else that it comes to with insecurity. The people who make us feel insecure, the people who don't pour into us in a positive way, the people who say things that make us think negatively about ourselves are probably not people that we need to be around anyway. And so those are the things that you have to remember. You have to surround yourself with like-minded, positive people who have the same types of thoughts as you and the same types of desires, the people who are encouraging, the people who are non-judgmental. And so that's another thing where you have to hold yourself accountable, because if you continue to allow people to have access to your life who don't check those boxes, then you're not aware of what the real problem is. Because if you're saying every time I'm around this person, I feel this way, then the question is, why are you around that person? So you have to hold yourself accountable. You can't just say, well, they do this and their personality disrupts my spirit and they're always talking negative and hey, JoJo, how are you, sister? And they're always doing this, because now you're trying to hold them accountable. And one thing we can't do is hold anybody else accountable. And people say that all the time. Well, they need to be held accountable for their actions, and I'm just trying to hold them accountable. They are the only ones who can hold them accountable. Because you can talk to them until you are blue in the face. Unless, hey, CC, thank you for being here. Unless they are willing to change, unless they are in full agreement with you, unless they realize and admit that they're a problem, you can't hold them accountable. You can cuss them out. You can call them out. You can tell them off. But let me tell you, that's not holding anybody accountable. So if any of y'all thought that you were holding people accountable by telling them off, giving them a piece of your mind, doing whatever it is that you do, you are not holding that person accountable. What you're doing is telling them off. You can't hold them accountable. And really, it's a moot point, because what you're doing at that point is you're not holding them accountable. You're being confrontational. And sometimes you do need to confront people. If that's what you need to do to get something off your chest, or if you want to have a conversation, that's fine. But don't feel like you're holding somebody accountable, because accountability comes from within. Because I can act like I'm holding you accountable by calling you out, but then who's going to be responsible for the third A, action? And that's where you lose it, because you can't make them take action. You can't make them do anything any differently. So therefore, have you really held them accountable? And even yourself, when you don't change your behaviors, that means you haven't truly held yourself accountable. Because I want y'all to think of that word accountability as a plan to take action. Okay. And so you can be self-aware and not hold yourself accountable or take action, but you can't really hold yourself accountable without taking action. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all picking up what I'm putting down. You know, that's what I do. When y'all don't talk back to me, when y'all don't click that link and want to join me on the stage, this is how I get my interaction. If y'all picking up what I'm putting down, if y'all are understanding the true meaning of accountability, I need y'all to put a 1 in the chat, because I think a lot of us have gotten that accountability piece a little bit misconstrued, and think that holding somebody accountable means telling them about themselves, means giving them a piece of our mind. Thank you. I appreciate it. And y'all don't know, that really does mean something to me, because I want to make sure that y'all are understanding. I got an ouch from Deborah. I love that though. Ouch, that right there, the ouch is the awareness piece, Deborah. So you're right there. If you said ouch, that means you have become aware of something. So now you just got to hold yourself accountable, which means make a plan and then take action. So ouch is good. I love ouch. I love awareness. I want us to be able to learn new things about ourselves, and being able to say that ouch, being able to put up your hand and say it's me. That's like, well, you on your way, girl. Then you're almost there, because it's when people aren't aware where no change happens. So, once you're aware, then now you can make choices to do something different. But if you're not even aware that there's an issue, why would you make a choice to do anything differently? And that's what I want y'all to do about these insecurities. If you're aware of what your insecurity is, now it's time to hold yourself accountable. Give yourself that compassion. Know that you're only human. It's not that big of a deal, but what are you going to do about it now? Hey, Jamia, what are you going to do about it now? Hold yourself accountable. Make the plan of action to do something differently. And so that something differently, it depends on what your insecurity is. Whether that something differently is being able to instantly change your mindset as soon as those negative thoughts come in your mind, whether it's being able to get out there and move and do your walk like you need to, whatever it is, just make that plan. Let's see. I just said someone accountable. The more I talk, the more I realize I was guilty of the same behavior. I had to tell myself to shut up. I love that though. I love it, because none of us are perfect, right? All of us have room for growth, but it's that awareness and accountability piece that's where we thrive. Like I tell y'all all the time, I love when I can figure out in any conflict I'm having in my life that I'm the problem, because that means I know for a fact that there's a path forward, because I am open to growing. I am open to looking internally and changing the things about me that I need to change to be able to live at my highest level of me. And so when I can figure out it's me, I'm like, okay, done deal, girl. I am aware I'm the problem. So let me make that accountability plan and then take action. Because when I can't figure out that I'm the problem and somebody else is the problem, then the only thing I can do is make the decision as to whether or not I'm going to continue to allow that person to have access to my life. But when it's me, then I have control of the whole thing. And so I love that. It's self-development, it's self-improvement. And I want us to always be in that mode of developing and improving and changing ourselves for the better. Let me see. LP says, I'm awesome at being aware, but I guess in the truth, I don't hold myself accountable because I don't take action. Yeah, and that's fine. You know, when you're in that awareness stage, you know, that's the first step. And so that's fine. The self-awareness piece is the first step, because there are so many of us walking around here who are completely oblivious and not self-aware at all. And to tell the truth, that's the most difficult part, is being aware. So when you're aware, it's just like, okay, what am I going to do to make this different? What changes am I going to make? Making that accountability plan and taking the action. So wherever you are in the process is not bad as long as you're in the process. It's the people who have no self-awareness, who don't even realize that they are hell on wheels, where it's like, okay, they're never going to change. Nothing's ever going to get better. But as long as you're somewhere in the process, even if you stay in one part of the process longer than the other, you're in the process. And so that's all anybody can ask. And the thing is, even though this is what I do day in and day out, and I've been through my counseling and I've been through my coaching, I still have certain aspects of my life where I'm not as far along in the process as I would like to be. But guess what? I'm in the process. And so y'all know I'm about transparency and being candid with y'all. And I tell y'all every single week, I'm not here to say, oh, I got this. You know, I don't have any insecurities. I don't have any things I need to work on. Hell to the no, that is not true. I have things I need to work on daily. But one thing that I can say about me is I'm in the process for sure. I am self-aware. I'm in the process. And some things I get all the way through the process and then I end up going back. Some things I get through the process and I'm great. So it just depends. Let's see what Lisa J said. Hey, Living Out Loud, you're about 3 months early. LOL, been celebrating my fan's birthday. Oh, okay. Okay. I must have missed something. Okay. They having a conversation. All right. And so we want to be self-aware. We want to have compassion for ourselves. We want to give ourselves grace, because again, accountability is not about kicking yourself. When you kick yourself, things are going to only get worse. You're only going to feel, worse about yourself. You're not going to feel good. You don't want to kick yourself. You actually want to celebrate those moments of catching yourself in that moment of insecurity and then making that choice to do something different. Celebrate the fact that you're growing. Celebrate the fact that you're aware. Celebrate the fact that you're working on it. Don't kick yourself. Don't make yourself feel like it's weak. Don't make yourself feel like you're not having progress, because it's going to be different for every one of us. And a lot of our insecurities are tied to triggers. And there's certain triggers that you can't control. You're going to see certain things. You're going to hear certain things. So when the triggers come up, sometimes it does set you back a little bit, but that's okay. As long as you stay in that awareness piece and you're in the process, that means you're moving in the right direction. And there's no, measure of how long it should take. Again, there's going to be different aspects in your life where you get through that process with flying colors and it's never an issue again. And then there's sometimes that you're going to have to do that reset, but you have to show yourself grace. You have to forgive yourself, because it's hard enough for us to show grace and give forgiveness to other people a lot of times, but we usually end up finding a way, right? But for us, we can still be kicking ourselves for something that we did in the 99s and the 2000s that's no longer affecting anything or anybody but us. And we are still harboring those ill will and bad feelings towards ourselves, a decision that we made back in the day. And even if it was some kind of life-changing decision, it done changed your life. So there's nothing that you can do differently but to move forward and not repeat the same thing. But we'll keep on kicking ourselves. We'll keep feeling unworthy. We'll keep living in the woulda, shoulda, coulda, instead of just realizing my journey is my journey. It wasn't perfect, but there was a reason why every single thing happened. There was a reason why I made every single decision. Most of the time when you make poor decisions, you did not think that it was a poor decision at the time. I don't know how many people would be like, oh yeah, I know this is going to mess me up, but I'm going to just do it anyway. That's not what most of us are doing. So you have to forgive yourself in order to get to that next, because I don't know what makes people think that punishing themselves is what needs to happen in order for them to do better, or in order for them to prove to themselves or other people that they made the mistake. No, the only thing you have to do is be aware, acknowledge that you made the mistake, be accountable, and then take action. There's nothing you can do to go back. Be kind to yourself. I literally just did this on Friday. I was having that insecure moment, and before I took action, I was aware I was being insecure, and I took a beat and stepped back to process. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that, Lee CJ. You have to take that time to process. Don't beat yourself up. Just process it. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? Okay, I'm aware that I'm feeling this way. So what is it that I can do to not feel this way anymore, or to feel better? Okay, that's what I can do. Now let me do that. And you go through that process, and you may have to go through that process over and over again about the same thing, but it's fine. That's why it's called a process. It can repeat itself. I did a TikTok on that. Is a real thing. And if y'all aren't following your girl on TikTok, please go over to TikTok. Just put in @Stae Hall. And I do a lot of little snippets on the self-awareness and self-improvement, but I did one on and let me see if I can find it real quick, and I'll show it to y'all, because is a real thing. And I think that's part of our problem sometimes too. We feel like, oh, well, we messed up, or we did this or whatever, and so now there's nothing else, we can't do it again, or it's done for good. No, you can go back and do it as many times as you want. Let me see. I have one on AAA too. Let me show y'all this. Y'all need to be following your girl on TikTok, but this is the AAA plan, y'all. Journey to excellence is not going to happen overnight. And it's also not going to happen without a plan. So let me share with y'all Stae's AAA plan to excellence. The first A stands for aware. On your journey to excellence, you are going to have to be extremely self-aware. You're going to have to be aware of what things you might need to change, what things you might need more education in, what things that you might need to do and put in place to be on this journey. Don't discount the fact that you also may need to be aware of things that you don't need to change at all, because, hey, you're already great. You already have a lot of value, and some things may need to stay just where they are. The second A stands for accountability. Now that we've become aware, now that we have identified the things that we may need to work on, let's hold ourselves accountable to do that work. So now we're aware, and now we're accountable. Where do those things get us? Absolutely nowhere, to be honest. It's a shift in the mindset. And so we've opened our mind to some new ideas, but we really haven't done anything yet, which leads us to our third A, action. Once you've become self-aware, once you are willing to hold yourself accountable to do the work, now we actually have to do it. So this one's for free. Take it from me. Stae's AAA plan to excellence: awareness, accountability, and action. Thank me later. I'm just saying. I tell you what. So as y'all can see, I don't just make this stuff up on the fly. I really think about it. And yes, triggers are crazy. Triggers are crazy. And you can learn new triggers all the time. But I'm telling you, I live by that, not just because I made it up, because it really works. And the reason why it came to me is because I needed a plan. I needed a way to think about it. And I'm an acronym person, and I'm a letter person, and so that just makes it easy for me to remember, because when I'm going through certain things, I need that too. And when I tell y'all I'm talking to me too, yeah, I'm talking to me too, because I am human just like y'all. I deal with a lot of the same things that y'all deal with as well. And I have just found ways to navigate it. I found ways to cope, but it's not like, oh no, I don't deal with that. Am I still as insecure as I used to be? No. Do I still have some of the same triggers that I used to have? No. But guess what? There's new insecurities. There's new triggers. And so it happens. And I'm never going to sit here and tell y'all, well, I don't deal with that. I'm trying to find my one on but let me see. I don't know. I wish I could find it, but I'm not going to waste too much of y'all time looking for it. But it's the whole thing that don't be afraid of Don't be afraid to redo. Don't be afraid to rethink. Don't be afraid to restart. Don't be afraid to anything. There is hardly anything in life that you can't take another stab at. Re-educate yourself, whatever. And so, okay, I think I just found it, y'all. I think I just found it. Business owner and I tell you what, there is no max count on relaunch, rebrand, re-event. You can whatever you want to as many times as you like. Don't let anybody discourage you from restarting, redoing, rewriting. Whatever it is you need to do, because guess what? None of us are perfect. A lot of us have started things, then we learn things along the way where it's like, I don't want to quite do it that way. So redo it. It's completely okay. None of us are usually going to get anything right the first time. None of us are usually going to stick to any one idea for the rest of our lives. Don't be ashamed to restart, relaunch, reboot, redefine. Is there for a reason. So reuse it over and over again until you are comfortable. And then guess what? If you're comfortable and then you get uncomfortable, then again, rewind, restart, refresh, It's all up to you. There is no limit. However many times you need to get it right until you are comfortable with it, then keep on I'm just saying. I tell you. So there you have it, y'all. I need y'all to read as many times. Do not ever think that you can't achieve something. You've tried it too many times, because that's what life is about. Every single day that you wake up and have breath in your body is an opportunity to restart, relaunch, redo, whatever it is. Don't give up on yourself. That's sometimes where the insecurities come, and they continue to build, because whatever it is we're insecure about is something that we gave up on, and we just stopped and we let ourselves go and we didn't continue to move. You have control of that. So you can reset your goals. You can decide something different and try it a different way. And that's a part of the whole thing too, is with the goals. A lot of times we have insecurities because we set unrealistic goals for ourselves. And so we got overwhelmed and we decided, so just to go back to the weight, we just decided, okay, I'm going to lose 50 pounds in 3 months. Well, that is next to impossible if you're going to do it the healthy way for most of us. So therefore, you set this unrealistic goal. And when you have these types of goals, especially for weight loss, they're usually tied to some kind of event or something you want to do. So you have this wedding you're going to, or maybe it's your own wedding, or maybe it's for vacation. Everybody want to get fine for the summer, but you usually forget until May this time. And so then you have vacation plan for July. Look, you see how I have these dates, my life, and you decide, oh my gosh, I forgot I needed to lose all this weight by vacation. And so here it is, May 20th, and I'm leaving July 2nd. And I will set an unrealistic goal that I'm going to lose 30 pounds by July 2nd. And then when I don't lose the 30 pounds by July 2nd, I'm going to allow myself to feel insecure and to feel inadequate when I'm getting out there in a bathing suit, which makes no sense because I set myself up. If I know that I'm going to feel insecure about being in the bathing suit, if I know, then I needed to set a realistic goal. I was aware that I needed to lose this weight in order to feel comfortable, but even though I held myself accountable and I made a plan, I didn't take action. I didn't stick to the plan. So there's no need for me to be insecure and beat myself up about something that I had full control of. What I need to do is I need to redo it. I need to reset my goals. I need to rethink my plan. So I need to So I gave y'all another one. We got the triple A's and now we got Are y'all understanding what Re's about? Y'all know what I'm getting ready to say. If y'all are picking up what I'm putting down on that and y'all are committed to redoing some things, I need a RE in the chat, or whatever it is. If you need to redo, relaunch, reset, revamp, put it in the chat. I want to see some Re's in there. It could just be a or put an actual in there. Hey, Tigsy, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. You too. You forgot to, Michelle. Yes, but you know what? You can redo it, replan, rethink, whatever it is, because is there for a reason. And so maybe next year we need to remember that we wanted to lose that weight. Y'all see how I did that? Y'all know I'm so funny, right? I am hilarious. Remember you want to lose that weight. Thank you for putting those Re's in the chat. And just remember that whenever you feel like you have missed the goal, you've missed the mark, remember, Stae said, I got a and there is no max on It's unlimited, because if you don't have as a part of your plan, then you're always going to feel insecure. You're always going to feel inadequate, because none of us ever get whatever it is right every single time. And so you have to make a part of your AAA plan, because outside of the then that means you're looking for perfection. And it's that perfectionism. And that's why I hate, like, when I'm coaching people or if I'm interviewing somebody and they say, well, I'm somewhat of a perfectionist. And people think that makes them look like, oh, okay, well, a perfectionist, that's who I want on my team. I don't need a perfectionist on my team. I need somebody who is aware and accountable and who takes action, because a perfectionist is going to drive me crazy. Because if you're a perfectionist, then that also means you don't have a lot of confidence. And you might be like, okay, Stae, what do you mean by that? Perfectionists usually are confident. No, perfectionist to me just means that you have to keep on doing something over and over again, tweaking it, asking a million questions, looking for approval, looking for buy-in, looking for whatever. You're not trusting yourself, because you have to adopt the good enough mentality, because you have to realize at some point that you have given something everything you can and it is good enough. And some people might look at it like, well, good enough sounds mediocre to me. No. Good enough means that what I've done is going to feel whatever needed to be filled for what I'm doing it for. And I'm confident that what I have to offer and the value that I put is good enough for whatever this is to work. Adopting that good enough mentality can really save you a lot of time, a lot of heartache, a lot of looking for approval, or looking for other people's validation. Let me see. I've not been taking the right actions for years. Every time I say I need to make a solid plan, that little troll in my brain says, you said that before. Having to makes me insecure. Well, the thing is, if you still, and I understand that, but if it's really something that you want to do, don't allow the to make you feel insecure. The reason that is making you insecure is because you're holding yourself to an unrealistic expectation. Because a lot of us have made plans and said we were going to do something, and then life happens. Circumstances happen. It could be sickness. It could be a bout of depression. It could be having to jump to something different to help somebody else, whatever it is. I mean, most of the time when we don't complete a goal, it's not because we just didn't feel like it. Because even with me, and people will call some things excuses. And to me, there's a difference between making excuses and lifing. Because I can say for myself, on my healthy lifestyle journey, I definitely could do better than I do when I say that I'm going to be on this journey. but I also have to think about my quality of life while I'm in that process as well. And so with the kind of schedule that I have, the amount of meetings that I take, the amount of time that I have to be away, and the events that I have to go to, I would spend all of my life trying to manage my life if I was doing all the events, taking all the meetings, and meal prepping every single week, exercising 4 to 5 days a week. There are just some weeks where I don't have room for it. Now, could I do it? I could, but when I have that extra hour in one day, I'd rather just sit on the couch and talk to my husband. So guess what? I'll restart it tomorrow because instead of meal prepping right now, I just rather sit and cuddle with my husband. It's a choice that I made, and I'm not going to feel bad about it or be insecure. Now, there's a time when I would, but as I've got older and worked through the process more, I'm like, what do I rather? I really do want to lose the weight. I really do want to get in better shape, but what's most important to me? And so for me to think that I can do all of that and never have to restart and never mess up is unrealistic. So what I've accepted is the good enough mindset, which I was just talking to y'all about. I do a good job most days. And the days that I don't, I'm okay with that because there was a reason. And so that's what we have to think about. Life happens, and you always want to focus on the quality of life. You always want to focus on the things that bring you joy. Because if trying to reach your goals, whatever they are, is a huge stressor for you, and you're not having the quality of life that you desire, you're not able to spend the quality time with your loved ones and your friends, you also have to think about, is it even worth it? And I talked about that when we talked about procrastination, LP. I don't know if you were here, but sometimes we procrastinate on things because it's something that we wanted to do at one time, but we haven't even realized that we really don't even want to do that anymore, because it's also okay to change your mind. Yep, you're so right. I feel down on myself or less because I'm still trying to do this. As long as it's something that you really want, then just keep trying. Just keep trying. But you also have to evaluate, again, because sometimes your mind changes and you're not even aware that you changed your mind, right? Because you're so focused on it. And I said that I was going to do this and I never achieved it. So in your mind, it's just, I need to achieve this. I need to achieve this. But you can also reevaluate and think, is that really still even a goal for me? Is that really even still important to me? And sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. But I think sometimes that's also a thought that people don't allow themselves to have, because they just feel like, since I said it, I need to do it. And if I don't do it, I'm a failure. Well, a failure to who? Because are you a failure just because you decided that this is no longer something that's important to me? This is no longer a priority for me. So it's all about the thought process. And so you just want to make sure that you're doing that and don't allow yourself to feel insecure about things where it's like, I don't even want to do that no more. And it's okay. Is it still important, or is it something that I need to check off my list? Absolutely. Absolutely. And those are the things that you have to think about, because just because something was important to you a year ago doesn't mean that it is still important to you. And don't do it just because you said you were going to do it. Hey, Chris. Hi. Thank you so much for being here. And so I want to talk to y'all about the whole good enough concept. And it's definitely something that, again, people kind of frown on, because good enough sounds like haphazard or you don't really care. But the benefits of adopting the good enough mindset is it relieves a lot of stress. And what the good enough means, it's not that good enough in that negative, like, oh, that's good enough, I don't care. What it's really saying is that you're good enough and that you're a valued person, and anything that you've given your 100% is going to be good enough. The good enough mindset is saying that you trust yourself and you don't have to strive for perfection, because you realize that there is no such thing as perfection, and you don't need other people and other opinions to validate you, because most of the time when we're striving for perfection, we're really trying to please other people, not ourselves. And y'all remember, the link is at the top of the chat on Facebook. If anybody wants to join me up here, if anybody has a question for me, if anybody has a story they want to share, if anybody has anything, I want to remind y'all, because more people have joined us, and the link is at the top of the chat. So I'm always open for y'all joining me up here. Just wanted to make sure that I said that once again. But the good enough mindset is going to help you increase productivity, because that's the thing too. When you're striving for perfection, when you're insecure about your final product, when you're afraid to share with people, when whatever, those are signs of insecurity. And you can improve your production, improve your mental health by knowing, when I feel like it's good enough, it's good enough. And I don't care what anybody else says. You have to start to learn to trust your own instinct and talking to yourself in a positive way, that even if somebody else doesn't think it's good enough, I'm good with it. And this is the way I'm going to roll with it. I don't care if we're talking about your makeup. I don't care if we're talking about your weight. I don't care if it's a project on your job, because 9 times out of 10, the things that we worry about and the things that make us feel insecure, nobody else is even paying attention. How many times and I know the ladies can probably relate to this, how many times have you gone out somewhere and you've been insecure about your outfit? You know, maybe you thought your dress was a little too short or a little too tight, or maybe you just don't like the way it's fitting, or maybe you had a bad hair day or whatever. And because you feel insecure about it, you mention it to somebody like, oh my goodness, girl, I came out and I look a mess. This dress is not fitting the way I wanted it to, or, you know, I hate the way my hair is. So you bring it to other people's attention because you feel like, well, if I say it, then they're not going to have the opportunity to be talking smack. But if it's somebody you trust, they'll be like, girl, I didn't even notice that. Or girl, there's nothing wrong with your hair, or that dress looks good. Or, you know, or if you say like, oh my goodness, my skirt is so wrinkled, I didn't even notice your skirt was wrinkled. If you wouldn't have said anything. And we do that. And that just goes to show that people aren't paying nearly as much attention to us as we think they are. We are not nearly, I'm seeing them, yep, I ain't even asked this time. And y'all like, yes, yep. That's what we do. It's like that. Let me put it out there before somebody says it. But what you realize is nobody was really paying that much attention. And why? Because they got their own stuff, their own insecurities, their own thoughts that's going on. They're not even paying any attention. We are not nearly as important to people as we think we are. And that's a good thing, because so much of what we're in our heads about, whether we want to outwardly admit it or not, it's about what other people are going to think, what other people are going to say. Oh, I can't wear this because people are going to think, or I can't start this business because people are going to say, or I can't date this person because people are going to think, and I can't have another baby at my age because people are going to say. But 9 times out of 10, people ain't even thinking about us. They got their own stuff going on. And then the ones who do have, and this is what I really want to get registered in your minds, because it took me forever to wrap my brain around this concept, is you have a choice in who has access to your life. So the people who do all have something to say, first of all, I'm going to step out there and say they are probably way more insecure than you are, which is why they always got something to say, because they thrive off of making other people feel the way they do. And if you have people in your life who always have something to say about how you look, who you date, where you go, what job you have, what business you start, then what I'm going to say is that's your fault, because you're allowing them to have that access. You're giving them and providing them with that information. You are opening yourself up to hear them. You have never cut them off and told them your opinion was not asked for. Your thoughts on that are not important to me. And those are the things that we have to feel grown up enough and courageous enough to do, so that we can eliminate people from our lives who are causing us to have these insecurities. My grandpa used to say, what makes you think everyone's even paying attention to you? Yes, we feel like we're way more important than we are. We worry so much about what people are going to think and say and whatever, and they're not. And the ones who are thinking and saying don't really matter, because those are not the kind of people that you want around you. It's like, you have to realize that people who always have something negative to say are negative people. And so you need to quit surrounding yourself with negative people. Something else that I want to share with y'all, let me get some water. I be running my mouth. But something else that I want to share with you is, if you are really feeling insecure about whatever it is, you know, something that a lot of people don't think about that can help you get over insecurities is finding a new hobby. And that might sound silly, but so many of us, especially those of us who are at a big age like myself, haven't tried anything new in a long time, right? So we're half 100, over half 100. We've done things in the past. We had hobbies when we were kids and when we were younger. And then our life turned into maybe raising families and careers. And so, and I say a new hobby because insecurities has a lot to do with just believing in yourself and the ability to learn and do and achieve. It's great that when you get older, if you have an old hobby that you haven't done in a long time, that's a good thing to bring you joy. But when I'm talking about things that will help you come out of an insecure mindset, trying something new that you've been interested in but just never did, that helps you so much with insecurity, because when you're able to master a new skill set, when you're able to do something and learn something and become creative, a lot of the other things don't really seem that important anymore, because you're conquering something. So whether it's learning a new language, or getting with Kelly and learning how to knit, or if it's taking voice lessons or learning a new instrument, or maybe going hiking or taking taekwondo, just something that you can take ownership in. Something. Now, don't go doing something that is just does not fit your vibe at all. You know what I mean? Like, if you struggle with English, then don't say, well, I'm gonna go learn German and set yourself up to be feeling bad. But you want to learn something new, because that gives you a certain confidence. And another thing about learning something new, oftentimes it puts you in a space with new people who are also learning something new, which then goes to what one of my favorite, you're laughing at me, nigga, I always got something crazy to say. One of my favorite things to say is like-minded. It gets you around like-minded people. When you struggle with insecurities, I would say that there is probably at least one person, but probably several people in your life that you need to kind of distance yourself from. And I know y'all like, Stae, you told us that your cutoff game is strong, but why are you always trying to get us to cut people off? Well, this is why. Because people is what usually has the most influence on us. And unfortunately, most people have more of a negative influence on us than a positive influence. Now, I'm not telling you to cut people off. There's a big difference from cutting off and creating boundaries and creating distance. And when you start to learn something new and you start to open yourself up to a whole new pool of people, there is something about that that's just invigorating. There's something about that that just helps to lift your spirits, building those new relationships, because that's something else that a lot of us at a certain age, when's the last time you made a new friend? When is the last time you did something new? When is the last time that you went somewhere by yourself and introduced yourself to some new people and something new? Changing your surroundings can help you a lot with insecurities, because again, our insecurities oftentimes come from things from our past, come from things that the people that we have drug along with us in our life have said or done to make us feel that way. But going into an environment around new people who don't know you or know anything about you, it gives you the opportunity to reinvent yourself. See, there's that again. Reinvent yourself. Be the person that you've always wanted to be. Be that courageous person. Be that bubbly, creative person. Be the person that you desire to be, not bogged down with all of the triggers and the traumas of the people that you've been carrying for all these years. Let's see. Miss Christine said, how do I handle other people's insecurities as they try to impose them on me? Well, that's the thing. Like when I talk about holding people accountable, it's really difficult to manage other people's stuff without managing yourself. And so when you have somebody who is in your life and they're extremely insecure and they visit that insecurity on you, again, you have to look at it. What part of this am I playing? Is this somebody that I need to have in my life? Now, because their insecurities are not pouring into you, is draining you. And so depending on the relationship, if you feel comfortable to have that open, honest, candid conversation with them, that crucial conversation to say, hey, this is what I think is going on. I think you're dealing with insecurities on certain things, and I would love to help you with those. And I just needed to know, are you aware of the insecurities? Are you aware that when you say this or do this, it is, I'm really seeing that it's an insecurity, and I feel like it's putting a wedge in our relationship because I feel like I have to walk on eggshells with you, or I feel like I just can't say the right thing, and it's really not affecting our relationship in a positive way. And if that person is open and receptive to that kind of conversation, then it is something that you can navigate. Y'all know my other thing is always talking about counseling. Everybody is not our ministry. We cannot help everybody. We do not have the skills and tools to help everybody. A lot of us, me included, have had a hard enough time juggling our own stuff. And so as much as you want to be a great friend, a great family member, sometimes the best thing that you can do is refer someone to another resource if they're open to that conversation. However, if they're not open to that conversation and they have not done even the first A and they're not aware, then again, that just may not be your ministry. And so you have to think about what you have to do for you. Sometimes we have to love people from a distance. Sometimes our constant presence in people's lives and allowing that access in that relationship is exactly what is enabling them to stay in that place that they're in, because we make them feel comfortable being the way that they're being. So depending on the relationship, the confidence and comfort that you have in that relationship, you may want to go the crucial conversation route and try to let them know, I am sensing some insecurities. Your insecurities are making me feel this way, and I feel like it's a negative part of our relationship. Or you may just have to distance yourself from that person, because some people just are not ready for the conversation. Some people just are not self-aware. So, Miss Christine, there's a lot of different ways to handle that. But again, you can't hold anybody else accountable. You can't fix anybody else's problem. So unless they're in the process of the triple A's, there's really not a whole lot that you can do. But if somebody has shared with you that they know that they're insecure and that is something that they are dealing with, then you just want to introduce them to some resources and just let them know, as much as I feel for you and I want to continue this relationship, I'm only willing to do it if you're willing to take the steps towards healing, because insecurities come from unhealed places, right? So it's something about us that we had that's not unhealed. There's some doubt we have in ourselves. There's still some discomfort we have with something. So it comes from unhealed places. So they have to heal in order to be able to come out of those insecurities. And, God forbid if, they say things like, well, you're the reason why I'm insecure, or you make me insecure. And then that's the whole blame game. So there's just so many ways, but I hope I helped in some kind of way. But it's just hard because there's just no like, oh, just do this or just say that, because everybody is different. Some people have certain issues, but they're open and willing to change. And other people have certain issues and they're completely unaware or they're resistant to change. And that's going to make all the difference in the world of how you can navigate that relationship. But y'all know, I believe in living your life. Love yourself first explicitly, because you want to be happy, healthy, and whole. And in order to be happy, healthy, and whole, sometimes that means you have to eliminate certain people, at least from having direct access to your life. And again, don't negate the fact that sometimes that distance is what can help them as well. People don't always realize until you decide that you can't take anymore. Yeah. So I hope that helped. I really do. Because it's difficult. And the thing is, when you're dealing with your own stuff, you don't really have time to deal with other people's stuff. And we're not equipped. Like, even though I'm a coach, I cannot tell y'all how much money I have lost from being honest about my capabilities and who I am and what I'm certified to do. I don't remember if it was y'all, but I know I did a talk about, the difference between coaches and therapists and psychiatrists. I'm a coach. I need you to come to me after you've gone through therapy. I mean, depending, on what you want me to coach you for, but most of the time, anybody, I at least need you to have done the work to become the best version of yourself. And then I can help you to navigate and sustain that. I can help you to achieve your goals. I can help you to recognize certain things that may have been holding you back. But when people come to me with deep-seated issues, a lot of self-doubt, they come to me with past traumas, childhood traumas. They come to me from broken homes and broken relationships, abusive relationships, and they haven't done any work. And then they come to me and they lay that stuff on me. I can't adequately help them because they need to do some deeper work to be prepared to come to me. And so a lot of times people just don't understand the process. And one thing about processes is you can't skip steps. So you need to be able to do all the steps, and you have to find out what your resources are. And we all need support from somewhere, but you just have to find out where you are in the process and what you need. CC, Stae, you're not certified to do it all. Girl, no, that's why I be laying on somebody's couch talking about my woes. No, I am not certified to do it all. Now, do I think I could? Of course, I feel like I could do everything. I can conquer the world, but I haven't done the work and gotten the degrees I need to say so. I was going to say I could because I do wear this S on my chest. But no, I am not certified. And I'm real clear with people, when they come to me with certain stuff, I'm like, I'm a coach. That's not me. There must be something about you that makes them want to come and lay at your feet. What do you do? I refer them to somebody else. And I think what draws people to me and make people think that, I can help them handle some things that are just kind of like above my pay grade, for lack of a better phrase, is the fact that I am so open and honest and candid and transparent with people. So a lot of people feel that they can relate to me and I can relate to them, which I can. And I will have those conversations. I will share my stories, the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent. However, I just would not feel confident in having somebody come to me with severe trauma. I'm just not sure that I would have the tools to help them. And I just would feel bad that I know that there are people who are licensed to do that, and I do know that I've helped people with severe trauma, but I just want people to be able to get the best that's out there for what they have. So, hey, J3. Thank you so much for being here, sir. I appreciate you. So yeah, and I do believe that I can be a help. And there have been people who have come to me who I'm like, you know what? I don't think you're quite ready for coaching yet. I think with what you're dealing with, you need therapy. And I've had a couple of people who are like, okay, well, can I do both? And I'll do both. As long as you show me that you're actively in therapy, then I will work hand in hand with your therapist and deal with it, that way. But as far as me just being a therapist, like, no, and I legally can't do that. And I just feel like, there's other coaches who may not address that, but I'm just going to be honest with people, because I could just sit there, take their money, do all the things and just go on about your business. But I want people to get what they need. Yes, you are relatable and real, authentic, and passionate. Thank you, Lacey J. And that's all I know how to be. And that's one thing about me that kind of kept me from doing what I do for a long time, because I know all I know how to do is be open and honest and transparent. And when I first started going down this path of coaching, and then when it went a step further and I was offered the podcast years ago that I did on Fishbowl Radio Network, and then I was invited to speak at groups, and then, on bigger stages in front of bigger people, I was a little apprehensive because I know how open and honest and candid I was. And I was afraid that me sharing my story would disrupt and interrupt other people's lives who were involved in my story. And I felt like it was my job to protect them, because even though I've done the work and I've become comfortable with my story and my journey, and I realized that the things that I have been through, there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's life. Everybody's life is different. I realized that me sharing my story can help other people who maybe are going through what I went through, or maybe help somebody not to go through what I went through. And I just was like, how am I going to do this if I can't be 100% authentic? And so it took me a while to realize it's not my job to protect other people. Just because you were involved in my story doesn't mean I don't have the right to tell my story. And so it took me a while to realize. And that's why when I tell y'all, my process starts over a lot of times, and sometimes it's the same thing, but there are different details in it. And so once I became comfortable sharing with people, then I started thinking about other people. Well, if I tell this story, then people are going to realize I'm talking about this person. Or if I share this about my life, people are going to know that it must be this person. But I realized that's not my cross to bear. And one thing I can say is anybody who is concerned about you sharing your life because they don't like the way it may make them look, then they should have thought about that whenever they did or said whatever they did that they're afraid of you sharing. I hope y'all understood that, because I know it was kind of like a riddle, but that's where I had to come to that conclusion. And people who are aware of what they did and said, and they no longer feel that way, or they regret that, or they want to be forgiven for that, or they've done the work and become a better person, they're not going to care about you sharing, right? But it's those who still want to hide behind that veil of perfectionism, that veil of that holier than thou, that hidden, you don't want anybody to see what's behind the curtain. Those are the people who don't want you to share. Because here's one thing about me. And I've had threats against me when I first started speaking out and being in front of a lot of people and telling my truth. I had people threaten me. Well, thank you so much, Cece, because I'm like, yeah, that sounds like she sells seashells. I'm like, I hope they got that. But I had people say, yeah, you on here talking about this, but do they know how you really are? And I'm like, I don't hide anything. I am an open book. I'm an open book. I'm like, I couldn't say how I was. But the thing is, a lot of times the people who have caused trauma in your life, the people who have done you wrong, the people who have given you that life that you now have to heal from, their perception of you is so misconstrued. It's like, yeah, you probably could go out there and tell them about a Stae that is nothing like me, because the person who you think I am is not at all who I am. But one thing about me, I'm not going to live in fear. So I'm like, you can tell it all. There's not anything. Again, this is my choice to use this platform. So why would I set myself up? But the funny thing is, when I have said challenge accepted, ain't nobody had nothing to say. So I'm going to just leave that there. But anything that I share is never to condemn anybody else. I'm not even judging anybody else, because I know, again, we have our own journey. And so we're all works in process. Some of us work a little faster than others. Some of our journeys are going to go in a different direction. And just because somebody hasn't changed today doesn't mean they won't change tomorrow. So I have no judgment for anybody. I don't have a heaven nor a hell to put anybody in. That's not my desire. And so that's why even when I do share now, I try to be as open and honest, as transparent as possible without just straight up dogging people and saying, because that's never my desire. But I do want y'all to understand that I understand. And so that was a long way around saying that's why I feel like people come to me. That's why I feel like I'm so relatable, because you don't get a lot of that. You know, a lot of people try to sugarcoat, or a lot of people get to where I am now and have the platform and the presence and the opportunities that I have, and they want to get up there and tell people how to fix themselves, but they don't want to admit the fact that they had to go through that fixing process as well. And so even though you can get the motivational speakers and the transformational speakers and the, you know, whatever, that make people feel good for a moment, is still something about somebody saying, I've been there. Sometimes I wish a little hell to put some people in. Yeah, you know, again, I've been there. I've been there. I know I don't have one, and I guess it's a good thing. It's a good thing, but I feel you, Cece. I do. I feel you. But, you know, your story is your story, and I just don't want you to allow anybody to make you feel like you can't share the story. I mean, just because you were a character in my story don't mean that I have to keep your secrets. And so that's where I am with it. And so with this, I just want y'all to shed those insecurities, stop the negative self-talk, stop the stinking thinking, do something new. Find something to feel good about yourself about. So if you're struggling with one thing and you just can't seem to get it right, I'm not saying stop working on that one thing, but start working on something new, something that you know you can celebrate a win. I don't care what it is. Make something, you know, just anything, because you always need to have something to celebrate. Don't just bog yourself down with what you're not getting right, what's not working. Do something that is going to make you feel good. You have said a mouthful, Stae. Thanks. Oh, thank you, Cece. You know, that's what I need, just to know that something I'm saying is go straight to HE double hockey sticks, as my grandmother used to say. But do something that you know will make you feel good while you're continuing to work on whatever the insecurities are. Just always make sure that you're keeping your cup overflowing. You want that quality of life. Don't stay laser focused on the things that make you feel insecure. Those things are going to be there. You can continue to work on them. I'm not telling you to forget about them. I'm just saying, don't let it bog down your mind. Stay in that process, that AAA process. And in the meantime, do the things that you know you're great at. Do the things that you know make you feel good. Talk to the people who are going to pour into you and the people who aren't judgmental. Sometimes when we're struggling with something, the best thing we can do is just take a break from it for a little while and then get back to it at a later date. But I want y'all to have quality of life. I want you to have a life that you feel good about. I want you to feel good waking up every single morning to new opportunities. I don't want you waking up every morning dreading what's ahead because you're stuck somewhere. Quality of life. Tomorrow's not promised to any of us. So don't waste all your time harping on what's not right. Be grateful and focus on the things that are right. And then just chip away at the insecurities little by little. Chip away, do the best that you can, and adopt that good enough mindset. Yes, regroup, do what you have to do, and adopt that good enough mindset. I've had to adopt that good enough mindset again with my weight loss. I had a certain weight in mind, and let me know if I'm the only one, but I want to get back down to my high school weight. And so I did that in 2019. I got down to my high school weight, but I was killing myself to do it. I was, training for a marathon. I was on a very strict eating regimen. It was something that I wanted to do. I wanted to run a marathon for my 50th birthday and, whatever. And it was great. But here's the funny part about it. I lost that weight. I got back down to my high school weight. But when I look at the pictures, I was skinny. I was thin. But I really didn't like the way my face looked in those pictures. I really didn't like the way my hair looked in those pictures because, when you lose weight and you're not getting all the nutrition you need, it affects your hair, your skin, your nails. And so I'm like, I was that size and I was wearing those size clothes and I was seeing that number on the scale, but I still wasn't happy with the full package. You know what I mean? And so I had to realize now I'm a different age now. Things are looking a little different. Everything when I lost that weight didn't go back to where it went. So I had that high school weight on the stage, but all my body parts ain't still where they were in high school. Gravity, it don't matter how much weight you lose. Gravity is still going to gravity. Stuff is still going to droop and scoop and whatever. So I'm like, I really didn't even like that look. And so what I had to realize is what I need to do is just get down to a healthy weight for me. My goal now is not a number on the scale. It's not what size clothes I wear. My goal now is two things. I want to get off my medication and I want to look nice. I do. I love clothes, but I want to look nice in the clothes that fit my 52-year-old healthy body. It makes no sense at 52 to try to get back to my 17-year-old body because I'm not 17 and this body is not the same and stuff is not in the same place. And so that's something that we have to think about too. Are our insecurities about stuff that's not even realistic? What is it that you're trying to do? Like, even if, and I never say that it's too late to go back to school or anything like that, but I also had a desire to be an attorney and life happened and I couldn't afford to go to school to be an attorney. I didn't even have time to go to school like that because I had my first son at 20 years old. And so I had decided a couple of years ago I was going to go back to school to be an attorney. And so now I could afford it, but I still really didn't have the time. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, why am I doing that? Is that really what I even want to do? Do I have time for that? Like, am I going to have the quality of life? Like, I want to travel. I want to talk to women. I want to uplift them. I don't want to be spending hours and hours studying and stuff like that. So I'm like, no, what I'm going to do is become an advocate. I'm going to help women who are survivors of domestic violence. I'm going to help women who are in bad situations. I'm going to empower and uplift women. The things that I wanted to do as an attorney, I just found out a different way to do it. Get scoop and droop, girl. Stuff. I'm like, dang, was that always there? And some things on my body, I'm like, what is that even called? What is this? It's just different. And so I had to adapt to that. And so that's what I want to tell you as well. If you're insecure about certain things, just think about it. Is that goal even still realistic? Is that even still what you want? Is that even going to still fit your lifestyle? I just want y'all to have an open mind. I want you to love on yourself. I want you to give yourself grace. I want you to stop comparing yourself to anybody else. All I want you to do is work on being a stronger, more courageous, more confident person than the person you were yesterday. And realize that even the people who look like they have it all together, they're struggling with something as well. So you are wasting your time trying to compare yourself to anybody else because you don't really know their journey. The only person whose journey you really know and how they feeling about stuff is me, because I tell everything. But most of the time, you don't even know. And what it looks like really isn't what it is. What do they say? Believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. That is so true. And so I definitely want you to give yourself grace and stop that stinking thinking. I'm going to be Haven tonight. Yeah, were you out there with the bees today, J3? I heard you. I thought I heard you earlier saying that you were going to be spending time out there messing with the bees today. I hope it wasn't hot there like it was here. Last time I was in my car, it was 96 degrees here, which I love, but I just know that might not be too comfortable out there messing with the bees. But y'all know, I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for letting me share my TikToks with you. If you're not always following me on TikTok, please go ahead on TikTok and follow me. It's just the @ and Stae Hall. I give little snippets on a regular basis. I used to post the TikTok every single day. And I think, oh, you were in the garden. I know it was hot out there, but I used to post a TikTok almost every day, and then they start talking about TikTok was going away. So I stopped really concentrating on TikTok, but I had people, just somebody today was like, I miss your daily TikTok. So I'm going to get back on it, and I'm not going to worry about it. If TikTok goes away, it goes away. But as long as, you know, again, I'm all about empowering and impacting people. So all I needed was for one person to say, I miss your TikToks. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to get back on my TikTok. So please go over and follow me on TikTok. Thank you so much, CC. I appreciate you for being here so much. I really do. And we're going to have to get together, CC. We're going to have to do a meet and greet. And for those of you who are going to the Crawfish Kickback, I think it's this weekend. Yeah, it must be, because I can't go. I'm going to have family in town, but y'all have a good time and, you know, go live. I want to enjoy the experience, and I'm going to do my best to be able to be there next year. But I'm also thinking about doing a Dallas-Fort Worth meet and greet. Wallace and I have been talking about that. And so maybe we can do something like that in the near future. But if not, I plan on coming to the kickback or the Soil Family, whatever that thing was called, the Soil Family. I want to say family reunion, but the Soil Family meet and greet, that one next year. But I do appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. If you're not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, please hop over to YouTube. I think I'm at like 680 some subscribers now. I'm over 3,000 watched hours. So I am sure by the end of the summer, I'm going to have my 1,000 subscribers. I'm challenging myself. I'm being super, super consistent. I dropped a vlog last night. So if you haven't had a chance to watch the vlog, please go check that out, because it all counts. And we are building a tribe. Invite your friends if you think that I might have something that can impact their lives, especially if you ask me questions on here. I've had a couple of people do that, where they've asked me questions on here, and it's been about something they're dealing with in their life with somebody, and they'll end up inviting them to the live. So it's like, yeah, I don't have to talk to them about it. I'll just invite them to the live, and they can come hear it from Stae. Please invite them, because I want to be able to impact as many people as I can. Oh, you're welcome, Michelle. You are welcome. And hopefully y'all saw, I posted on the community tab and on my Facebook group. I've had to change the schedule. So Wallace and I will no longer be going live on Sundays because we've just found that we have way too many conflicts on Sundays. So we're going to start going live with the hallway on Tuesday. So it'll be me on Monday, Wallace and I on Tuesdays, and then me back on Thursday for Thursday. So y'all have Mindset Mondays with Stae, the hallway with Wallace and Stae, and then Thursdays with Stae. So just to let y'all know, great live. Thanks for sharing the AAA. You are so welcome. You're going to get it 1K journey. Yes. We are going to grow this tribe. Awesome live. Thank you so much, Deborah. I appreciate you. Awesome. Keep grinding and growing. Thank you so much, Miss Christine. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the love and support. You know, I love you guys to bits and pieces. I appreciate each and every one of you for spending your time with me. And y'all know the drill. Always be kind and always love one another, but never forget to live your life. L-Y-F-E. Love yourself first explicitly. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Good night.
Living life is game. Hey, hey. 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 Love yourself first, explicitly. You owe it to yourself to move with that energy. Empower your self-esteem. Self-love is king. That's the only way to win. That's how you empower your dreams.